You know, when you're scrolling and you see yet another post about someone making six figures in their sleep, suddenly you start thinking, should I be doing that too? And then before you know it, you're reworking all of your offers, you're tweaking your funnels, or you're rewriting your sales page, trying to reverse engineer someone else's model. We've all been there. And in this episode, I want to help you recognize when that's happening before you spend months building a business that actually drains you. Because your path to success, it probably looks nothing like the one that's trending today. Welcome back to Boldly Introverted, the online business podcast. I want to talk about something that's easy to fall into, especially for intentional business owners like us. It's the subtle, sneaky way we can start building businesses that look great on the outside, but don't actually fit us at all. Here's how it usually happens. You see someone sharing their success story, a slick evergreen funnel, a seven-figure course, or a work from the beach lifestyle. And it sounds good. You think, maybe I should build that too. So you adjust your offers, you rewrite your messaging, you shape your business around what's worked for someone else, thinking that if you just follow the proven model, it'll work for you too. But what happens next? You start feeling disconnected from what you're selling. Your marketing sounds just a little bit off. You dread certain parts of your work. Something's just not clicking. If any of that feels familiar, I'm with you. I've done it too. Most of us have at some point. So in today's episode, we're going to explore why this happens, how to spot when you're drifting into someone else's model, and most importantly, how to reconnect with your own business in a way that feels aligned, energizing, and sustainable. Because here's the truth. The models you see celebrated online aren't always the right ones for you. And the most important business you can build is one that honors your strengths, your values, and the life you actually want. So you might be wondering, okay, but how do I actually know if I've drifted into someone else's model? And if I have, how do I get back to building something that's really mine? We're going to start by looking at some of the signs that show up when your business isn't quite aligned anymore. Some of them are subtle, and some are a little louder, like the knot in your stomach when you pitch an offer you don't even like anymore. Then I want to talk about why this happens in the first place, because it's not just about comparison, it's also about how we're wired and the way this online space is set up. It's very normal and very human. From there, we're going to shift into how you can start reconnecting with what works for you, your strengths, your style, the way you actually want to run your business. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to quiet some of that noise that makes this so hard, and how to find the kind of support that keeps you grounded in your own path instead of chasing the next shiny thing. So that's where we're headed. Let's start with what to watch for, those little signals that you might be building something that's not quite yours. Sometimes the signs show up quietly at first. You can't quite put your finger on it, but something in your business starts to feel off. Maybe you're dragging yourself through work that used to light you up, or you find yourself writing sales copy that just doesn't sound quite like you. You wonder if it's just resistance or fear, but sometimes it's actually misalignment. You're operating inside a model that doesn't fit how you naturally create, serve, or show up. One of the first signals is feeling disconnected from what you're selling. You might notice a tightness or hesitation when you pitch your offers or design new content. That can be a clue that you've built an offer based on what you thought you should do, maybe because it looked successful for someone else, not on what actually energizes you. Another sign could be in your messaging. If your marketing voice starts to sound stiff or overly polished or just not like you, pay attention. Often, this happens when we adopt templates or formulas that don't match our natural communication style. When you're aligned with your offers, your words flow more easily and they sound like you. You might also catch yourself chasing trends. I see this a lot in online business. Suddenly, everybody's doing VIP days or launching memberships, and it starts to feel like you should too. If your decisions about products or marketing are being driven more by what's popular than by what fits your strengths and business goals, that's another red flag. And then there's the really big one, dreading the work. Of course, No business is 100% pure joy 100% of the time. But if you find yourself consistently drained by core parts of your business, that's a sign. Often it's because you've built a structure that clashes with how you actually like to work. For example, maybe you're an introvert who thrives on deep one-on-one client work, but you've been told that you should scale through large group programs or constant content creation. It's no wonder that you're feeling resistance. That model doesn't honor your natural strengths. These are all signals to listen to, not with judgment, but with curiosity. They're invitations to step back, reflect, and ask, is this business I'm building really mine? Next, let's talk about why we may fall into this trap. One big factor is what I call visibility bias. The business models you see promoted most loudly online aren't necessarily the best ones. They're just the ones with the biggest marketing budgets. When you scroll your feed, you're seeing a highly curated version of success. Evergreen courses, passive income funnels, seven-figure group programs, they're spotlighted constantly. What you don't see is what's happening behind the scenes. You don't see the huge ad spend, the full-time team, or the personal circumstances that made that model possible. You don't see the burnout, the pivots, or the parts that didn't work. But when you're constantly exposed to these polished versions of success, it's easy to internalize the message, this is what success looks like. This is what I should be building. Another reason we fall into this trap is our natural craving for certainty. Running a business involves a lot of unknowns. It's vulnerable and messy, and there's no guaranteed path. So when someone comes along with a clear formula and says, just do this, it works, of course we want to believe them. That's not a flaw. It's just a human nature. We all want some sense of security. But the catch is, no one else's formula can account for your specific strengths, values, or life circumstances. What works beautifully for them might feel completely out of alignment for you. And then there's the ever-present comparison culture baked into the online space. When your feed is full of people posting revenue milestones, launch numbers, and dream lifestyles, it's really hard not to compare. Even when logically you know that those snapshots don't tell the whole story, it still seeps in. Without realizing it, you start adjusting your offers, your marketing, even your vision of success to match what you see. Not because it aligns with your deepest values, but because it's everywhere. So awareness is the first step here. When you can name what's pulling you off your path, visibility bias, craving certainty, comparison, you can start to disentangle from it. And that's a good segue into how to reconnect with your business model, one that fits your strengths, your style, and the life you actually want to build. The goal here isn't to tear everything down and start from scratch. It's to realign, to build in a way that energizes you and reflects who you are. One of the simplest ways to start is by just auditing your current offers. So sit down with what you've created and ask yourself, do I genuinely enjoy delivering this? And then, is this structure sustainable for me? Not just for now, but long term. And last, does this reflect how I want to serve my clients? Sometimes the answers might surprise you. You might realize that an offer you built to scale actually completely drains you, or that a service you thought you should let go of is where you do your best, most fulfilling work. The next piece is noticing where you feel most in flow in your business. When do you feel lit up, energized, and fully yourself? It might be in deep one-on-one work, or in writing, in teaching, or in creating products. Your ideal business model will amplify your natural strengths, not force you into roles that don't fit you. If you're constantly fighting your own wiring, trying to be extroverted group coach when you thrive in quiet, deep client work, it's going to wear you down. Alignment is about building around your gifts, not against them. Another powerful practice is tuning out the noise. We can't stay aligned if we're constantly consuming content about other people's wins and strategies. And finally, don't underestimate the power of an aligned community. Being around people who value experimentation, alignment, and sustainability, not just scaling at all costs, really makes a big difference. The right support can help you stay grounded in your path, even when the online space is telling you to do something else. Okay, so how do you actually stay aligned, especially in a space where the noise is constant? Because even once you've reconnected with your own model, the pull to compare and copy doesn't just disappear. You'll still see the six-figure screenshots. You'll still hear this is the only way to scale messages. The key is building practices and finding support that help you stay grounded in your path. So first, curate your inputs. Be really intentional about what you consume. If certain accounts or newsletters or podcasts trigger that I should be doing more spiral, mute them or unfollow or take a break. It's not about pretending other models don't exist. It's about creating enough space to hear your own voice again. When you're constantly bombarded with other people's blueprints, it's almost impossible to stay connected to what you want to build. Next, prioritize reflection over reaction. So before jumping on a new trend or strategy, I want you to pause and ask yourself, does this play to my strengths? Does this support the kind of business and life I actually want? And am I drawn to this because it's aligned or because it's popular? Slowing down these decisions is one of the most powerful ways to stay rooted in your own model. And perhaps most importantly, surround yourself with the right kind of support. Find spaces where the emphasis isn't just on scaling, but on alignment. Spaces where you can share the messy middle, experiment, and honor your natural way of working. Because here's the truth. No business model is neutral. Every model carries certain values, assumptions, and ways of operating. When you're in communities that prioritize authenticity, sustainability, and quiet power, it's so much easier to build a business that feels like yours, not a copy of someone else's. That's why I'm such a big believer in intentionally chosen communities. It's not about cutting yourself off from learning new things. It's about choosing learning environments that support you, not ones that pressure you into a mold that doesn't fit. At the end of the day, staying aligned is an ongoing practice. The noise will always be there. The comparison trap will always pop up. But with reflection, intention, and the right support, you can build a business that honors who you are, how you work best, and the life you want to live. It's so easy to drift off course in this space, especially when the loudest voices are often the ones selling a very specific version of success. But here's what I want you to remember. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it will work or feel good for you. And it doesn't have to. The most sustainable businesses are the ones built from a place of deep alignment. They reflect your values, your strengths, and your actual life, not an image of what business should look like. So if this conversation has sparked some reflection in you, know this, it's never too late to realign. You don't have to burn everything down or do a massive pivot overnight. You can start with just small shifts, tweaking an offer, adjusting your messaging, letting go of a piece that doesn't really fit anymore. You absolutely do not have to do it alone. Find spaces and people who support the kind of business you want to build, where experimentation is welcome, where scaling is optional, where you're valued. If you've spotted areas where you've been building someone else's model, it's not failure, it's just awareness, and awareness is what gives you choice. You get to choose what you build, you get to choose what success looks like for you, and your business gets to feel like yours every step of the way. So thanks so much for being here today and for doing this work. I know it's not always easy to tune out the noise, but every step you take towards a more aligned business matters. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to take one small next step. Maybe that's doing a quick review of your offers. Maybe it's unfollowing a few accounts that leave you doubting your own path. Or maybe it's just giving yourself permission to take a breath and tune back into what you actually want to build. And if you'd like more support with this, consider joining my membership. You can join the waitlist through the link in the show notes. I would love to welcome you in. And if today's conversation helped you, I'd be thankful if you'd subscribe and leave a review. It helps more women find Boldly Introverted, the online business podcast. Till next time.